Are you about to give your CFA level 1 exam or are planning to do so? Confused how to go about it, want a plan, need to know about a plan that helps somebody else pass their exam very smoothly? Then you are at the correct place. Keep watching. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanishka and I hope you all are doing good. Today I'm finally making the most awaited video, the most asked video, that is my detailed CFA level 1 study strategy, exact plan, what did I do, how did I do, everything. So things that I will cover in this video include number 1, the resources that I used, number 2, the classes, the videos that I watched, things that helped me, number 3, my detailed plan, like the actual plan, and number 4, a few golden tips that I used and I can really vouch for that they actually helped me pass the exam. So before I go forward guys, in case you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. आप सबके कहने पे ही मैंने ये वीडियो बनाया and I make all videos taking your suggestions, your comments. So please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, just keep showing your love. Now, moving forward to the first part of this video, the resources that I used, right? So the resources that I used include number 1, the Schweser Notes. I did not use the curriculum notes. I used only Schweser Notes. Now, I do not want to promote that using the curriculum notes is not good or you should not use the curriculum notes. You definitely should use the curriculum notes if you want an in-depth knowledge or if you really have that bandwidth, that mental bandwidth to read, to understand, and the curriculum notes are great. I personally do not have that much of a mental bandwidth to sit and read that much. I kind of get very anxious जब मैं इतने सारे notes देखती हूँ. So I like summarized versions. I like to the point, like I said, summarized versions, concise versions of things. That's why I have always opted for the Schweser Notes and they worked extremely well for me. So Schweser Notes. Then I use the end of chapter questions from the Schweser Notes, the end of chapter questions from the curriculum notes. So I usually call them curriculum questions, but they are in reality called end of chapter curriculum notes, end of chapter questions from the curriculum notes. So that is the second thing that I used. The third thing that I used are questions from the candidate resources. So you can basically log into your CFA ID, go to the learning ecosystem. There you will find your candidate resource questions and they are very helpful. And the last thing that I used were the CFA Institute provided mock exams. So yes, these are the resources that I used. Now moving on to the classes, the videos that I took. So iski ek apni hi ek story hai. So for CFA level 1, I actually enrolled myself. I am based out of Bombay, by the way, Mumbai. So I enrolled myself for Laukik Shah sir's classes, and for some reason, while he is very good, but for some reason things did not work out logistically for me. So the timing and the days were not fitting well. Pata nahi kuch na, something or the other was there and I just couldn't make it. So I did attend a few lectures, but the time that I could attend, he was not the teacher, somebody else was the teacher because he used to not teach that was the only one batch that he used to not teach. And unfortunately, that teacher who was teaching, मेरे को नाम भी नहीं याद है, I couldn't connect to. So I really did not last long in that class. I walked out very soon. But the good part of attending that class was I got a knack of how to use the calculator. Laukik Shah sir had some special tricks that I have learned and I'm making reels on them. So please keep an eye out for my reels. I'm gonna share extremely helpful calculator tricks that you should know. So yeah. The biggest benefit that I had, coming back to the point, from attending a few lectures from Laukik Shah's institute was that I got to know how to use the calculator. Very important. Ethics was very well explained, so that also was a big bonus for me. And he had the printed version of the end of chapter questions from the curriculum notes. So he used to print those and give it. So I actually bought them separately. I did not know ki at that time I was not smart enough to know that I could access it from my own login ID. So I paid extra for that. You do not need to do that. You will get it in your own, once you log into your CFA ID, you will get the curriculum notes and you can get the end of chapter questions. So please don't do such level of stupidity like I did. Anyway, so yeah, because I was not very happy with that class, I switched to YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has been helping people ever since. So yeah, I switched to YouTube and that is where I found Mark Meldrum. At that time, he had a complete, like literally complete CFA level 1 playlist where every reading was broken down to literally LOS1, LOS2. So he went in depth with that playlist. That was a complete reading. I think only ethics and time value of money were not a part of that reading, but everything else, when I was giving the exam, everything else was a part of that playlist, and I used that. So I basically studied Mark Meldrum for free during my CFA level 1, and it was very, very, very helpful. I've given my complete honest review opinion on that in another video. I will link it somewhere in the description, maybe somewhere above here also, so check it out. I will not get into the depth of that, but yes, I watched Mark Meldrum videos for everything, leaving ethics and time value of money. ये दोनों कहाँ पढ़ा? Like I said, ethics was very well explained in Laukik Shah classes. Fortunately, I attended it, so that was covered there for me. And time value of money, again, I used YouTube. I dug deeper and I found some lecture from Fintree. It was not Ashwin Bajaj, to clarify. It was not an Ashwin Bajaj lecture. It was by somebody else. I do not remember the name of that teacher. If I find that lecture somewhere, I will link it in the description. If I cannot find it, then I'm sorry. So आपको पता चल जाएगा. But yes, I studied level 1 basically through YouTube, and it was very, very helpful for me. Of course, there were drawbacks in the sense that if I had doubts, then it was very tough. I used to have to ask friends around, so वो थोड़ा time extra हो जाता था. But other than that, I really did not face too much of an issue, and that was pretty much helpful for me. So yes, I went to partially Laukik Shah classes, partially Mark Meldrum classes, partially Fintree. It was a khichdi, but it eventually turned out nice and tasty. So yeah, that worked well for me. Moving on to part number 3 of this video, and a very, very important part is, I mentioned actually that in the videos that I watched, I learned calculator tricks in the classes, that I attended. Now, what are the 3 calculator functions that you should know for sure if you are giving CFA level 1? Because this is the first time you'll be giving the exam, you may not be aware of how to use a calculator. The financial calculator is very different from a scientific calculator, an ordinary calculator, right? So 3 functions that you really, really need to know and should know before you give the exam is the time value of money functions, extremely important. The cash flow functions, how to calculate the NPV and how to calculate the IRR. Basically, those things are also available. So the cash flow functions. And number 3, which is a hidden gem. Not a lot of people know this. Trust me, I've seen so many YouTube videos, I've seen so many classes. Nobody has taught this. This was a plus point by Laukik Shah sir, because he taught this in his class, is how to use the mean, how to use the calculator to calculate mean and standard deviation. So when you are doing quants, while mean and standard deviation calculations are pretty easy, it gets very lengthy, right, when you do it manually. So there is a trick in the calculator where you can calculate this directly. Like I said, I'm covering all these 3: time value of money, cash flow, and how to calculate the mean and standard deviation parts in different reels. All of them will be out very soon, one of which will be out tomorrow itself, so keep an eye. And definitely ye 3 cheezein you have to know, right? So yes, now moving on to my few golden tips. These are literally tips that helped me sail through. Like, I can vouch for them. Whenever anybody, even a general friend, a cousin, a family member, anybody, they ask me that, give me 3 tips or 4 tips that helped you pass CFA level 1. These are things that I always say like this, because they are things that I swore by.